Good morning. It is a beautiful day. It's a little chilly in Montreal, but something to complain about. So today I want to talk about a couple of things. This is something that's been marinating in my head for a while, and I'm very excited to talk about it and discuss it with you. If you ever notice how some people think that there's only one right way to live, there's only one right way to believe. There's only one right way to connect. Like if you don't connect my way, then you cannot get whatever it is that you're looking for. Or if you don't connect um, to my faith, then blank, blank, blank. If you don't fit my mold, then you're wrong. You're wrong. It's just the wrong way. And I've been marinating on this for a while on how to grapple with this and how to live in a world of nuance, which is the world that I like to live in. So here's my thought. Life was never meant to be a single stone. Real beauty, real meaning comes from many stones. What I mean in that metaphor is it comes from many different voices, many different paths. And the goal is it's many paths to the same destination that we're trying together to build something greater. And so today I want to dive into this. I want to talk about how true oneness celebrates differences, how to break free from the my way or no way mindset, and what it means to value your uniqueness and the uniqueness of others. I'm hoping that this idea sticks with you. And of course, since I'm a rabbi and I have been accused many times of um, being able to tie anything to anything, I am going to tie this to this week's Torah portion. Are you ready? So, the first little piece here, you're going to hear a little bit of Torah, and it may not all make sense to you, but as you know, the lesson and the meaning and the purpose is all going to be very beautifully wrapped in a bow by the end of today's little session. In this week's Torah portion, which is called Shoftim, there is an interesting commandment. It says that you shall not erect for yourself a pillar. This is a pillar. This is something which the Lord your God despises. You should not erect for yourself a pillar. Interesting. So when we try to understand something that we can understand, we go right to the most basic biblical commentator, the super commentary, Rashi. And Rashi explains that this is a prohibition against erecting an altar made from a single stone. And even if the intent was to use this altar as a place for worship, for divine worship, where offerings would be presented to God, it still cannot be made from a single stone. Now, the Torah elsewhere allows the existence of altars made of stone. For example, in the Holy Temple in Jerusalem, or the Torah talks about the altar in the tabernacle in the desert. And there, Rashi explains that this is only true of altars comprised of many stones, not of a single stone. Altars are okay if they're comprised of many stones. Altars are not okay if they're comprised of a single stone. What's the logic? Why? I mean, really? Does it make a difference whether you present an offering on an altar of one stone or you present an offering of many stones? So Rashi explains that the difference is not intrinsic, but historical. In the times of the patriarchs, in the times of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, Rashi writes that our forefathers, they built single stone pillars for divine service. And for them, Rashi says, it was beloved by God. God loved it. But once the Canaanites adopted this practice and began building single stone altars for idolatrous offerings, including the horrific practices of ancient idolatry, God rejected them. So it's interesting. Why? So they were doing it. God loved it. The Canaanites did it. God didn't love it. Just because some tribes use the single stone for idolatry, all of a sudden we can't use it in a productive and meaningful way. I mean, I'm sure there's many things in the world that are used for both good and, let's say, not good. So does that mean that we can't use, all of a sudden somebody uses something for not good and now we can't use it? We can't bring out the meaning. We cannot bring out the purpose in it. The pagans worship the sun, the moon, the water. We still use the sun and the moon, and we definitely use water, and it's beneficial to us. We know what days are like when there's no sun out. We know, I mean, you can't survive without water. So just because people used it for idolatry, now we can't use it. So what this prohibition against the single stone pillar may be teaching, if I can be so bold to talk this way, it may be teaching us that though there is one God, the altars constructed by the human being to serve God should not and could not be of one stone. They cannot be of one color, one dimension, one shape, one quality. In paganism, or the modern version of paganism, which I think is atheism, in modern atheism, a human being creates a God. A human being creates some higher power in the human's own individual image. My mind, my ego define what is essential. My mind, my ego define what is of supreme importance. When, when God is a product of my image, that God is inevitably defined by the properties of that image. And since no two human images are identical, it follows that your God, or the God of your image, cannot serve my God as well. We don't have the same God. My God must be worshipped in my way, based on my perception of who is God and what God stands for. My altar, back to the Torah, my altar must be constructed of one stone, my own. There's no other way to serve. Sure, I mean, if you want me to because I'm a nice person, I think I'll tolerate those people. I'll tolerate those views that my image of God can make peace with. But if you step out of line, I'll hunt you down. Because really, I have no genuine room for your position. This is completely the opposite of the Jewish idea. The faith of Judaism, I don't even like the word, use the word the faith of Judaism, but we'll call it that. The faith of Judaism, the idea of monotheism, declares the oneness of God and the plurality of man. God is one, humans are plural. The transcendental God of Judaism transcends the natural universe, but also transcends any spiritual definition. God is undefined by any form, by any shape, by any characteristic, whether it's a physical characteristic or a spiritual one. The moment you give a definition to God, it's not the God of Judaism. We call it Ein Sof, no end. The only reason why we say no end is because we don't know what the opposite of finite is. We'd say, we say the opposite of finite is infinite, but infinite just means the opposite of finite. There's no word that we can describe because we as humans are limited to time and space, and there's nothing we can do about that. And so to try to explain the ineffable, to try to explain something that's beyond time and space, we'd have to just say it's beyond time and space. It's limitless. It's infinite. We don't create God in our image. God creates us in God's image. So my God, my version of God, doesn't mean I get to decide, here I am, EST 2025, and I decided I have a new idea of what is my God. So Judaism challenges me to see God's image in the one who is not in my image. For every person knows and feels something about reality, something about truth, and something about God that no one else does. Essentially, if someone has another idea and it's triggering me, it's there for me to learn from. If I don't like your way of practice, why is that triggering me? I should just not care. I mean, there's a lot of people who just don't care. But if I care about it and it's bothering me, then there's something there for me to learn from. None of us, none of us knows all the truth. I think like this, that each of us know some of the truth. I think of it like a symphony that's composed of many notes. Each of us constitutes an individual note in the divine symphony. And together we complete the music. If God wanted you and me to experience God and serve God in the same way, then one of us would be superfluous. And I know for a fact that there is no one in this world that's redundant. Nobody that came before you, nobody that will come after you, and no one that is here during your lifetime has the same unique purpose as you. No one is superfluous. And so therefore we have to all be unique, and we all have to give and bring a unique perspective to the picture. Diversity within religion is not only a factor that I think we have to reluctantly accept. I think instead of tolerating, I always think of the Museum of Tolerance, like I'll tolerate you. Let's make a museum about tolerating people because I don't really like you. I'll just tolerate you. So I don't think it's like, okay, fine, I'll tolerate this idea. No, I think it's a genuine cause for celebration. It grants us the opportunity to encounter God, since it's only in the face of another person that we can discover the part of God that we lack in our own face. The result of a relationship with a transcendental God is a growing appreciation of people's differences and not just being able to tolerate them, but as the essence of a rich and rewarding human and a rich and rewarding religious experience. Diversity, and you can quote me on this, diversity is the one true thing that we all have in common. Celebrate it every day. Diversity is the trace of an undefined God on the human species. One of the greatest challenges that's facing humanity today is the ingrained belief by a particular group of people. Okay, we'll call them the Muslims, so we can call it out. a particular belief by many Muslims, not all, but many, that those of us who do not embrace Islam as a faith and a lifestyle are infidels who need to be either converted or killed. On another level, and in a far more subtle and fine way, one of the challenges that's facing many communities today, a challenge that has pervaded the history of all religions from the beginning of time, is a sense of tribalism. And that sense of tribalism is found not only in other faiths, it's found in Judaism as well. Many devout Jews and many people who kind of get into, a particular tribal Jewish idea as well. Oh, I believe in Tikkun Olam. I am tribal to that. I believe in, this particular idea. I'm tribal to that. And people will say that my way of serving God is the only true way. And if you have a different path, you're on the wrong team. Life's too short. I can't talk to you. I can't respect you. I can't be friends with you. You're just on the wrong team. One day you'll figure it out. Many of us feel, have I triggered you enough yet? I see, I can see these faces that are so triggered right now. I love this. Many of us feel that the construction of the altars, and I'm using that metaphor going back to this week's Torah portion, and I mean the altars by the structures in which we serve God, that in the construction of these altars, there is room for only a single stone. There's room for only a single path, one flavor, one style, to the exclusion of anything else that does not fit our religious imagination or our religious idea or our religious upbringing. And that is, I would like to argue, the path of paganism, polytheism, and atheism. That path invites a singular altar made of one stone. The whole idea of a monotheistic path, the monotheism of Abraham, was this idea of a singular God welcoming a diverse altar. That God is one and people are plural, not that God is plural and people are one. You see, it's literally turned on its head. Monotheism is God is one and people are plural. That we have a diverse altar made of many distinct stones. The structures constructed by humans to serve God are by definition going to be diverse and are by definition going to be individualistic because we're all unique. This doesn't mean that God condones every act done in his name. I mean, the word God has been so used by people who do terrible things. A lot of people will, if you ask them really, why are you, don't believe in God? It's because God has been used for the most terrible things, to murder, to kill. So, I like to use the word Hashem because that doesn't have the same triggering connotation as the word God. But let's reclaim that word, because the God of the Bible, the God of the Torah, created absolute universal standards of morality, absolute universal standards of ethics that bind us all, that connect us all. But these rules do not come from my ego. They do not come from they do not come from my comfort zone. They're from an absolute truth that includes and benefits every human being on this planet. To the Jewish people, God presented an absolute system of Torah and mitzvot. God created through the Torah morals and ethics, and creating a world that we can all live in together. Yet, within this framework, every human possesses our unique path to truth. One of the great masters, actually Rabbi Shneur Zalman of Liadi, in the Tanya, chapter 44 of the Tanya, he put it this way. He said, the concrete laws of Torah are the same for us all, but the spiritual experience of Torah, the feelings of love, the feelings of awe, contain infinite pathways, one for each person, according to our individual identity. One God, many individual processes, many individual paths, not many pluralistic gods in one path. Just literally a simple switch, switch. And I like to compare it to the 88 keys of the piano that lend themselves to infinite combinations. I can't think of how many different songs I've heard on a piano, but there's only 88 keys. The very same keys allow for many different expressions. So, here's my take. Authentic religion must be welcoming. It cannot be based on fear. It needs to be diverse. It needs to be individualistic and expressive. And when you truly cultivate a relationship with God, a God who is undefined by any image, by any color, you know that in the presence of otherness, you can encounter a fragment of truth that you can never access within your own framework. So be open to influence. Be open to listening. Right now, we're in the month of Elul. And in the month of Elul, there's this beautiful idea that the king is in the field, that God is very close to us. That using the king as the metaphor for God, that the king usually during the year is on the throne in the palace and very hard to reach. But right now, and a lot of people miss this moment because thinking they go to Rosh Hashanah, the king is back. Rosh Hashanah comes in just a little over 3 weeks, and the king is back on the throne, so to speak, that God is back in the palace. But right now, God is in the field, and in the field is where we are, where the people are. And so this idea and this teaching, I think, can be, if we allow it to, so much more pertinent to us now over the next 3 weeks than any other time of the year. To try to see that personal God, the one God that created me and allows me to experience my unique path and my unique challenges. And the same God that created me created someone else. And that person who I actually don't agree with, God, that same God created that person. And that's their unique path. And I won't necessarily be able to. So often I see people and they're trying to peddle wares. They're trying to sell some idea. What if we just allowed everyone to find their uniqueness and try and stop selling ideas and stop saying this is the only way? What kind of world would it be if we can actually embrace all the colors and all the diversity of it? That's the world of nuance that I want to live in. And that's, I think, the world of nuance that Judaism wants to live in and that the Torah is talking about. Not a single stone altar. But if you want to serve God, you must serve God with many stones, with many different people, each of us creating our own unique imprint. I'll say it again. I can't say it enough. There's no one that came into this world before you. There's no one that will come into this world after you. And there's no one here during your lifetime that has the same unique imprint as you. You have a unique purpose. And part of that unique purpose is going through the challenges and going through the struggles to discover it, to find it, to try to figure it out. If you're triggered by something, it's there for you to learn. It's hard to learn. This is the hardest learning because it's so close to us. It's so close to us that our nose gets in the way. That's how close it is. And the people who are closest to us are going to trigger us the most because they're closest to us. So the ideas that are closest to us are going to trigger us the most. And that's for us to learn, and that's for us to grow. And that's a part of us that perhaps we've exiled. There's a part of us that perhaps we've hidden and that we have to reveal. And so my blessing to you as I close my thought today is here we are, right in the beginning of the month of Elul. It's a perfect moment. It's a perfect time to reflect, to think, to notice triggers, and just the noticing of the triggers, just the noticing of those times that we're holding our breath, or just the noticing of those things that are bothering us is already a learning. Even if you don't learn from it yet. I mean, it'll be great if we can learn from it. But even if you don't learn from it yet, just noticing, this is triggering me. Why is this triggering me and something else isn't? Why am I noticing this and not noticing something else? May Hashem bless each and every one of us with the ability to learn and to grow over the next 3 weeks, and we can come to God this Rosh Hashanah and say, look at my gift to you. Look at what I've done. Look at the growth. Look at the change. I'm not the same person that I was a month ago. I'm not the same person I was last Rosh Hashanah. And that is the greatest gift for the new year. As the joke goes, the Jews are the only people who dread their holidays. And we definitely dread our new year. Everyone else is popping champagne and celebrating, and we're like reflecting and trying to figure out. But that's what it's all about. And that's what we want. We don't want it any other way. It's easy to pop a champagne bottle. It's hard to do the hard work. And we're here in this world to do the hard work. And Hashem has given us this extra special blessing this month to do the hard work. And of course, there are still a few spots left for the Forgiveness Lab that we're going to be starting this Sunday. This Sunday, the first videos and workbook go live for the first lesson of the Forgiveness Lab. I am very excited. I've been working on this for so long, and I can't wait to share it with you. I just recorded the first lesson, and I don't want to overhype it, but I'm really, really, really excited about it. And of course, for those of you who are able to make it, in 2 weeks, we have a beautiful retreat, and there's still a few spots left for the retreat. I'd love to spend time in person with you, not just over the interweb. So I can't wait for all of these great things that are coming our way. And I'm hoping to be part of your process as you work on all of these great things, these difficult things leading up to Rosh Hashanah. Have a beautiful day and a beautiful Shabbat.